the God that never fails. I call for the victory of the God flame now. Those men who cause and curve all hands, all fallen angels, all those who are persecuting the children of light. Blaze of the lightning through. Blaze of the lightning through. Let the will of God be done. 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 Sheets white fire with lightning descend. Sheets white fire with lightning descend. Sheets white fire with lightning descend. Blaze the lightning of the hand of God. Blaze the lightning of the hand of God. Blaze the lightning of the hand of God. Shiva descend into our midst. Shiva descend into our midst. Shiva descend into our midst. Shiva. 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 I'm going to be introducing now the speakers for this afternoon. First, we take up the god and goddess Meru, the Manus for the sixth root race. The god and goddess Meru are the Manus for the sixth root race. As you may know, the first three root races, the first three evolutions that came to Earth, stayed in the etheric octave, attained their perfection through 14,000 years, and returned to the heart of God. Then came the fourth and fifth root races, and then the sixth. The fourth root race was compromised by fallen angels, laggards, individuals who led them astray, and so many of the fourth root race made extensive karma with those of the dark side, and many of the fourth root race, if not the majority, are in embodiment today. The same took place with the fifth root race, and 2,000 years ago, the sixth root race began to embody, and they are the newest souls in the earth. So the fourth and fifth root races are very old souls who are totally familiar with the teachings of East and West and have a deep, instantaneous understanding of the paths of East and West. It is the great divine director who will usher in the seventh root race, which is to embody in South America. And the god and goddess Meru have their focus at Lake Titicaca. The terms god and goddess denote that they are cosmic beings who ensoul the God consciousness of their office. God Meru has explained that the names God and goddess Meru have come down from ancient Lemuria, where their twin flames guarded the light of the motherland. The physical focus of the mother flame was lost when Lemuria sank beneath the Pacific. That was the most ancient continent that we are aware of, though there are civilizations that predate Lemuria. The god and goddess Meru have enshrined the mother flame at their retreat on the etheric plane to make up for the loss of the focus of the mother flame on Lemuria. This vast retreat, the Temple of Illumination, is located over Lake Titicaca, high in the Andes Mountains on the Peru-Bolivia border. At this retreat, the god and goddess Meru focus the feminine ray of the Godhead for the planet, just as Himalaya focuses the masculine ray in the Himalayas. The center of the retreat is directly over the remains of an ancient temple on the island of the sun. Jesus, Mother Mary, and many saints have studied in this retreat. In a dictation given December 22nd, 1973, Goddess Meru invited us to make the call to hear the lectures she and the god Meru have given at their retreat. She said of the many lectures and addresses which the god Meru and I have given before the multitudes on the etheric plane, there are specific ones that may be heard by you if you but make the call and the attunement. It is as though you were to take a tape recording of one of your messenger's lectures and play it back. So you can, by tuning in to our retreat, receive these lectures. And therefore our message to you can be an unending one. For if you so desire, all through your life, and if you make the invocation each day, you can be receiving the words of the god and goddess Meru into your etheric body. Your outer mind may not have the full awareness of these teachings, But step by step, as you rise higher, you will have that awareness of the mind that was also in Christ Jesus. And you will know because you are known of God. You will know because the known laws of God are anchored within your force field, within your consciousness, being, and world. This is a sacred opportunity, one that ought not to be taken lightly or forgotten. May I suggest then that you make note of this dispensation, and that each night before retiring and each morning before getting out of bed, you remember to make the call for the continuing release of wisdom from the heart of the God and Goddess Meru. The God and Goddess Meru are the sponsors of education, advanced learning, the acceleration of the mind, the heart, the soul, and the full development of the potential of the unborn child and all children as they mature. The great divine director, Manu of the seventh root race. He presides spiritually over the continent of South America, where the seventh root race is destined to incarnate in the Aquarian age. In a dictation he delivered through Mark Prophet on April 2nd, 1961, the great divine director said, "Today in South America there now arises a transcendent and beautiful beginning in the land of Brazil. In the city of Brasilia there has been created a beautiful setting and climate for the government over which we will preside during the reign of the seventh root race." End of quote. The great divine director is the ascended master whose attainment of cosmic consciousness qualifies him to ensoul the flame of divine direction on behalf of Earth's evolutions and untold life waves beyond. His name, as Saint Germain has explained, is the title of an office in the cosmic hierarchy, given to the one who, by virtue of diligent application over the eons, focuses within his causal body the formula of the ascension for the children of God and the sons and daughters of the Most High, evolving in this cosmos. The great divine director has said, "I pray that you will call to me, for I have within my consciousness the scroll of the divine plan for every living soul on earth and in the vast beyond." That is a great invitation to call to the great blue causal body of the great divine director to receive your divine plan for the remainder of your incarnations on earth. The great divine director is a member of the Darjeeling Council and also serves as a member of the karmic board on which he represents the first ray. He has 2 retreats in the etheric octave, the Cave of Light. That retreat is in the heart of the Himalayas in India. And then the Rakazi Mansion in the Carpathian Mountains in Transylvania. Again, it is on the etheric plane, so you would not see it with the naked eye, but if you were there and were sensitive, you could sense that presence of that retreat. So that is a very brief bio of the great divine director, so that you can lock into him when he gives his dictation. Babaji. Babaji is an unascended master who has chosen to remain unascended and to retain a physical body. He is a part of the Great White Brotherhood in the lineage of the unascended Brotherhood of the Himalayas. His name means revered father. 50 years ago, only a small circle of disciples knew of this master. In 1946, Paramahansa Yogananda published his autobiography of a yogi. In this book, he revealed Babaji's existence to the public and related certain experiences of Babaji's disciples. According to Yogananda, Babaji has never disclosed his family origin, birthplace, or birth date. He speaks generally in Hindi, but also converses easily in any language. Yogananda says, Babaji, the deathless guru, bears no mark of age on his body. He appears to be a youth of not more than 25. Fair-skinned, of medium build and height, Babaji's beautiful, strong body radiates a perceptible glow. His eyes are dark, calm, and tender. His long, lustrous hair is copper-colored. He has lived for many centuries amid the Himalayan snows. Yogananda's Sanskrit tutor was a disciple of Babaji who had spent time with the master in the Himalayas. He said of Babaji, "The peerless master moves with his group from place to place in the mountains. He carries a bamboo staff. After Babaji has been in one locality for some time, he says, 'Let us lift our camp and staff.' His words are the signal for moving with his group instantaneously to another place. Sometimes he goes on foot from peak to peak. Babaji can be seen or recognized by others only when he so desires. He is known to have appeared in many slightly different forms to various devotees, sometimes with beard or mustache and sometimes without them. His undecayable body requires no food. The master, therefore, seldom eats." Another of Babaji's disciples has explained why Babaji has kept a physical body for so long. One night, when some disciples and Babaji's sister Mataji were kneeling at the great Guru's feet, Babaji said, "Blessed sister, I am intending to shed my form and plunge into the infinite current." Mataji asked, "Why should you leave your body?" Babaji said, "What is the difference if I wear a visible or an invisible wave on the ocean of my spirit?" Mataji replied, "Deathless Guru, if it makes no difference, then please do not ever relinquish your form." Smart thinking. "Be it so," said Babaji solemnly. "I shall never leave my physical body. It will always remain visible to at least a small number of people on this earth." In Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda says that Babaji's sister Mataji has also lived through the centuries and is almost as far advanced spiritually as Babaji. Her name means Holy Mother. Yogananda relates the following story about the power of a guru's intercession. Babaji's disciples were sitting one night around a huge fire that was blazing for a sacred Vedic ceremony. The guru suddenly seized a burning brand and lightly struck the bare shoulder of a chela who was close to the fire. "Sir, how cruel," remonstrated one of the disciples. Babaji responded, "Would you rather have seen him burned to ashes before your eyes, according to the decree of his past karma?" With these words, Babaji placed his healing hand on the chela's disfigured shoulder. He said, "I have freed you tonight from painful death. The karmic law has been satisfied through your slight suffering by fire." End of quote. Yogananda's Sanskrit tutor tells a story about Babaji that illustrates the importance of obedience and of trust in the Guru. On one occasion, Babaji's sacred circle was disturbed by the arrival of a stranger. He had climbed with astonishing skill to the nearly inaccessible ledge near the Guru's camp and said, "Sir, you must be the great Babaji." The man's face was lit with inexpressible reverence. He continued, "For months I have pursued a ceaseless search for you among those forbidding crags. I implore you to accept me as a disciple." When the great Guru made no response, the man pointed to the rock-lined chasm below the ledge. "If you refuse me, I will jump from this mountain. Life has no further value if I cannot win your guidance to the divine." Without emotion, Babaji said, "Jump then." "I cannot accept you in your present state of development." The man immediately hurled himself over the cliff. Babaji instructed the shocked disciples to fetch the stranger's body. After they had returned with the mangled form, the master placed his hand on the dead man. Lo, he opened his eyes and prostrated himself humbly before the omnipotent Guru, who said, "You are now ready for discipleship." Babaji beamed lovingly on his resurrected Chela. "You have courageously passed a difficult test. Death shall not touch you again. Now you are one of our immortal flock." With those words, we understand that the real disciples of Babaji have regained the immortal threefold flame of life, their own immortality. They are no longer mortal. So Babaji only has immortals as his followers, at least in this particular situation and group. Then he spoke his usual words of departure, and the whole group vanished from the mountain. End of quote. Yogananda explains that the stranger's test concerned obedience. When the illumined master said, "Jump," the man obeyed. Had he hesitated, he would have disproved his assertion that he considered his life worthless without Babaji's guidance. Had he hesitated, he would have revealed that he lacked complete trust in the Guru. Therefore, though drastic and unusual, the test was a perfect one for that individual in the circumstances. Mighty Victory described the service of the unascended masters in a dictation he gave December 31, 1976. Unascended souls of magnificent countenance have stood with the evolutions of earth. They have stood as sages. They have stood to retain the flame at the etheric level, to give comfort to life. They are the consciousness of the ascension, yet unascended. You might say they have reached the plane of samadhi, of eternal communion with the mother light, and from that communion they have drawn forth even the light of nirvanic planes, anchoring that light here below. They are the perpetuation of the word. They stand to ennoble the race. Babaji has given one dictation, and it was given through me on June 17th, 1979. He said, "I am Babaji. I choose to speak by the authority of the Darjeeling Council on behalf of the unascended brotherhood of the Himalayas. For we come forth, and we come to sponsor now, true chelas of the path, who will wear the mantle of the ascension, white and bright. I come in the person of Father as I am called. I come to pierce and penetrate the veil. I come to expose those false ones who have misrepresented us. They are named, and their names hang with the sword of Damocles that is upon their head. I say, let them be exposed. For we will have the victory of all chelas in the dispensation of the Great White Brotherhood. Test me by my vibration. Ask me, and I will come into your life. Don't you dare deny me or my messenger until you have demanded proof and more proof. For I will give it, I will come, and I will growl with Himalaya until you know that the god star Sirius is my home also. And I am with the legions of the mighty blue eagle, and I am here, and I will not take no for an answer. If you are of the light, you may first fight with Babaji. And when I have fought and won, I will teach you how to defeat the demons. So I have come, I have broken the silence, and all of the masters of the Himalayas gather with me. Now you who hear me, Go find those souls trapped in the false paths of the false gurus of India, and let them hear my message. Let them hear my word. Do not fear to show them the face of the messenger or the sound of my voice. Then let them choose, and do not leave them without the light and sign of Astrea. I am Babaji. I am here because I am not anywhere else, but everywhere. The end of the quote from that dictation. So that is your introduction to Babaji. I will give you the introduction to Ishvara. Ishvara, I-S-H-V-A-R-A. Ishvara is a Sanskrit word meaning Lord of the universe or Lord. In Hinduism, Ishvara is seen as the immediate personal aspect of the supreme impersonal Godhead. The immediate personal aspect of the supreme impersonal Godhead. This is the core of Hinduism. We cannot know God unless we know him personified, and God personifies himself in extensions of himself to whom he gives form, spiritual form and physical form. In Hinduism, we know the many gods are simply rays of light from the one central source. It's not really a pantheism. It really is the one God who appears to us in his many manifestations, which are the profile of the service of that one. So when you need a certain service, you go to a certain likeness. But in reality, there is only one God. The God of Christianity and of Islam, as well as all the deities of Hindu mythology, are aspects of Ishvara. Our human reason can conceive of divinity only within some form. Thus we need the concept of Ishvara. The most widely disseminated form of Ishvara in Hindu thought is the Trimurti, the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Ishvara is usually personified as one aspect of this trinity. Various Hindu sects identify Ishvara with the highest figure in their pantheon, whether it be Brahma, Vishnu, or Shiva. As described by the Hindu sage Ramanuja, Ishvara has an infinite number of supreme and auspicious qualities. He has a most perfect body, which is eternal and immutable. He is radiant, full of beauty, youth, and strength. He is omnipresent. He is the inner ruler of all. You can think of Ishvara as being one with the great Atman, the presence of God that is part of and in your threefold flame. In the Shiva Purana, a Hindu scripture, Ishvara manifests as Shiva. Ishvara says, "Behold, I am Ishvara, who appears for the protection of his worshipper, on whom he always bestows safety and happiness." Swami Pravananda and Christopher Isherwood write, "What is important is the concept of devotion. Devotion to a personal ideal of God brings with it a natural inclination to humility and service. If we set ourselves to serve Ishvara, if we dedicate our actions and surrender our wills to him, we shall find that he draws us to himself. He draws us to himself as we give ourselves to him. This is the grace of God which Sri Ramakrishna compared to an ever-blowing breeze. You have only to raise your sail in order to catch it." To this date, Ishvara has given only one dictation, which he delivered through me September 4, 1977. He appeared to me in a magnificent crystal filigree spiral of light, as the representative of the hidden man of the heart, the Holy Christ Self. In that dictation, Ishvara said, I am the one, Ishvara. I am in the light of the Holy of Holies, in the within of the flame, and in the secret chamber of the within. Come and find me in the center of the one that is thy life. Come and seek me to know my name, and thus know the inner key to the release of that energy, which will only give to thee life, and life everlasting. Vajrasattva, spokesman for the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. In the mystical path of Vajrayana Buddhism, Vajrasattva represents the principle of purity and purification. Vajrasattva embodies the capacity to eliminate spiritual impurities of all kinds, particularly neglected commitments toward one's teacher and one's own spiritual development. That is a very interesting way of approaching Vajrasattva. Neglected commitments. One of the first lessons that Al Moria taught me is do not make a commitment unless you are absolutely certain that you will fulfill that commitment. Do not be glib with your words, promising this and that, and never coming through with that promise. In Vajrayana Buddhism, Vajrasattva is not only a divine being, but also a state of attainment. The Vajrayana school teaches that those who are close to soul liberation or nirvana can reach the state of Vajrasattva. Followers of this school seek to become a Vajrasattva, a diamond-souled, transcendent being. The name Vajrasattva has been variously translated from the Sanskrit as diamond being, diamond nature, and the indestructible minded one. The root Vajra means diamond. In Hinduism, it refers to a scepter-like symbol of the thunderbolt. According to Buddhist teachings, the Vajra cleaves through ignorance and therefore represents the indestructible nature of the Buddha's wisdom and the victory of knowledge over illusion. One Buddhist text describes Vajrasattva as the being without origination and destruction, the all-good, the sole substance of all, the enlightened one. Another text says of him, perfect knowledge is his only eye. Perfect knowledge is his only eye. He is the stainless embodiment of all knowledge, pure, all-pervading, the subtle seed of all creation, the immutable. In Buddhist art, Vajrasattva is depicted as a white Buddha. Dilgo Khyentse says, we visualize Vajrasattva above our head, utterly peaceful and smiling, brilliant white like a dazzling snow mountain, illuminated by the rays of 100,000 suns. He sits upon a 1,000-petaled white lotus and a moon disk. In his right hand he holds a golden Vajra at his heart's center. In his left hand a silver bell resting at his hip. He is adorned with 5 silken garments and 8 jeweled ornaments. We should visualize Vajrasattva not as though made of flesh and blood, but like a rainbow in the sky. He is pervaded by the wisdom and compassion of all the Buddhas. Vajrasattva is the synthesis of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, and he has the attainment of all 5. The ascended masters teach that Vajrasattva embodies the 5 secret rays and the 5 elements, as well as the 5 personalities of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. The term Dhyani Buddha is roughly translated from the Sanskrit as meditation Buddha. The 5 Dhyani Buddhas are Vairochana, Akshobhya, Ratnasambhava, Amitabha, Amoghasiddhi. They are not historical figures like Gautama Buddha, but they are celestial Buddhas, transcendent beings, who symbolize universal divine principles or forces. They represent various aspects of the enlightened consciousness and are healers of the mind and soul. Each of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas embodies one of the 5 wisdoms. These wisdoms antidote the 5 deadly poisons that are of ultimate danger to the soul's spiritual progress. 1. Vairochana's all-pervading wisdom of the Dharmakaya antidotes the poison of ignorance. 2. Akshobhya's mirror-like wisdom antidotes the poison of anger, hate, and hate creation. 3. Ratnasambhava's wisdom of equality antidotes the poison of spiritual, intellectual, and human pride. 4. Amitabha's discriminating wisdom antidotes the poison of the passions, all cravings, covetousness, greed, and lust. 5. Amoghasiddhi's all-accomplishing wisdom, the wisdom of perfected action, antidotes the poison of envy and jealousy. The 5 wisdoms of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are integrated in Vajrasattva. In addition, the Ascended Masters teach that Vajrasattva embodies a 6th wisdom, the wisdom of the diamond will of God, which antidotes a 6th poison, the poison of non-will and non-being, fear, doubt, and non-belief in God, the great Guru. Each Buddha has a bija, or seed syllable, which represents his essence. Vairochana's bija is Om, Akshobhya's Hum, Ratnasambhava's Tram, Amitabha's Hri, Amoghasiddhi's A. Vajrasattva's bija is Hum. We can invoke the 5 Dhyani Buddhas and Vajrasattva by giving their bijas or their bija mantras. The mantra always begins with the Om, says the name of the Buddha, and concludes with their seed syllable. Let us give these 6 now.